Hi again then guys, and welcome to the 8th installment of B-Road Ballers on Forza Horizon 3 in particular, the review series for the hot hatches therein. And this particular vehicle, known here in the UK as the Mazda 3, the MPS version in particular, known elsewhere as the Mazdaspeed version, is a hatchback which, for me personally, kind of falls into a similar category as the Astra VXR, and potentially a couple of others that we're going to cover as well. And one of the reasons why I would say that is because this car actually shares much of its DNA with the Ford Focus ST. Now, the Ford Focus ST is universally known for being a fantastic hot hatch, so the fact that this one isn't really allowed to reach that same level of performance as something like an ST, albeit the newer ST, that's kind of a shame, in a similar way to the Astra, which also suffers from being kind of underpowered in the grand scheme of things. Now, how does this car compare to other hatches? Well, let's break it down. First of all, we have the handling, and for the handling, I'm going to give it a 3, because it's a front-wheel drive hatch with over 260 horsepower, it weighs almost 1500 kilos, so you've got a bit of torque steer there, understeer is ever present, it likes to spin up its wheels. All of these things aren't surprising, but at the same time, those things can be ironed out. Other hatchbacks with similar kinds of setup, sometimes with less power and less weight, something like a Mini Cooper, for instance, the newer version, they can have a front-wheel drive chassis with relatively minimal wheel spin and minimal understeer. And not just the Mini, there are others too. This one, though, feels a little bit dated in that regard, as does the Astra. Now, when you convert it to rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, it does improve it, but still, it's not amazing in that regard. As far as acceleration as well, I'm going to give it another 3 because, again, it's not overly remarkable. It's definitely not slow with over 260 horsepower, and when you fully tune it to well over 500 horsepower, it's decent enough. But again, it's not really going to worry any of the other hot hatches that can be tuned or have engine swaps and given sometimes double the power even. As far as top-end speed goes, I'm unfortunately going to, like the Astra, have to drop it down to a 2, because although this car is a little bit quicker than the Astra, if memory serves, at just over 200 miles per hour fully tuned, that's still not really that quick compared to many of the other hot hatches. Many of them, from Ford and various other companies, can easily exceed 220, 230, sometimes even around 240, and very rarely, but sometimes even more. That is a pretty big disadvantage for a newer hatch like this to have, and it just wouldn't be fair to score it higher in that regard. As far as value for money goes, though, I am going to raise it back up a little bit to a 3, because at 35,000 credits it is pretty affordable, it's reasonably begin friendly, not amazingly, but reasonably, and it has some potential overall. And speaking of that usability, I'm going to have to give it a 2 in that regard, because although it's okay in the lower levels, the C-Class for instance, it's just not really a big contender once you take it higher. And so overall, that means that as a tabulation of all 5 categories put together, I'm giving this car the exact same score as the Astra of 48. But that's it for this pick overall. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.